unprecedented wealth shift, how $79 trillion was diverted from the bottom 90% to the top 1% in 5 decades. A comprehensive study analyzing wealth distribution in the United States from 1975 to 2023 has unveiled a staggering economic shift. Approximately $79 trillion in potential earnings by the bottom 90% of American workers was instead concentrated in the hands of the top 1%. This revelation underscores the deepening divide in economic prosperity, raising critical concerns about financial equity and policy decisions that have shaped this trajectory. Historical context and escalating disparities. Rand Corporation, a globally recognized nonprofit research institution, initially examined the economic redistribution patterns between 1975 and 2018, concluding that $47 trillion in earnings that could have gone to the vast majority of American workers was instead redirected to the wealthiest 1%. However, an updated analysis incorporating 2023 figures has painted an even more dramatic picture. Economic inequality has intensified due to multiple converging factors. The study identifies 3 key drivers of this wealth shift. 1. Economic growth. While GDP surged, the distribution of new wealth disproportionately favored the top earners. 2. Rising inflation. Inflation alone accounted for an estimated $10 trillion of the wealth shift. 3. Declining income share for the majority. The share of taxable income received by the bottom 90% has significantly declined, exacerbating the financial divide. Citing data from the United States Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA, the study highlights that gross domestic product, GDP, in 2023 was 15 times higher than in 1975 and had expanded by 27% since 2018. Despite this growth, the bottom 90% of earners saw their share of taxable income plummet from 2/3 in 1975 to just 46.83% by 2019, signaling a structural shift in income distribution. Economic consequences and political response. The study concludes that if income distribution remained at 1975 levels, American workers in the bottom 90% could have collectively earned an additional $3.9 trillion in 2023 alone. This translates to an average annual income boost of $32,000 per full-time worker, a figure that could have dramatically transformed economic stability for millions. U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders highlighted these findings in a press release in March 2025, warning of the devastating consequences of such a wealth transfer on American democracy. He emphasized that while some lawmakers express concerns about economic redistribution, the real crisis lies in the vast reallocation of wealth towards the wealthiest 1% rather than towards the working and middle classes. Sanders further criticized recent proposals for $1.1 trillion in tax cuts that primarily benefit the wealthiest Americans. He strongly opposed efforts to fund these cuts through drastic reductions in essential services, including healthcare, housing, education, and nutrition assistance. "We must do the exact opposite," Sanders asserted, calling for policies that prioritize economic fairness rather than exacerbating inequality. Government policies and structural adjustments. The study's findings come amid ongoing fiscal policy debates. Since his return to the White House, former President Donald Trump has implemented significant spending cuts, including reductions in funding for the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and the Department of Education, which resulted in a 50% workforce reduction. Additionally, the newly established Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by Elon Musk, has been tasked with aggressively curtailing government expenditures. The agency claims to have saved $65 billion, though critics argue that such austerity measures disproportionately impact programs that support lower-income Americans. Final thoughts. The path forward. The findings of this study serve as a stark reminder of the growing economic divide and the urgent need for policy interventions to address wealth concentration. As debates over taxation, labor rights, and social programs continue, the question remains: Will future economic policies reverse this trend, or will inequality continue to expand at an even greater rate?